Now, I already made the video discussing the concept of cultural stagnation, where I pointed out that almost every single piece of entertainment coming from the West, whether it's a movie, a TV show, a video game, is just a reimagining, a remake, a sequel, a prequel, almost no originality in the last 10 years. And unfortunately, I can't think of anything that will withstand the test of time. Not just a video game or a movie that I will recommend to my kids, the same way that my parents recommended Forrest Gump to me or Titanic or the movies that they grew up with. I don't think I have anything to recommend to my kids. But not only that, I can't think of many movies that came out recently that I would want to rewatch myself. Because when I grew up and I saw The Terminator, for example, or RoboCop, after seeing them, I wanted to see them again several years later. Because they were good movies. And I can't think of any examples of that today, at least when it comes to the West. Because there are other countries that come to mind, such as South Korea, which still makes good entertainment that I would watch again in the future. Squid Games is a good example. The Kingdom, many others, Train to Busan. And then you also have Japan with its anime. Attack on Titan is something that I will definitely rewatch once all the episodes come out. So it's not as if humanity is incapable of creating original and interesting stories. It's just that when it's about the West, you notice this level of stagnation and lack of creativity, where everything has to be a prequel, a sequel, something that has already been done. And unfortunately, it's not just with entertainment. You look at politicians and world leaders. Which person alive today do you think is going to get a statue in the next 30 years? And I pointed out how Margaret Thatcher in the UK got a statue, how Winston Churchill got a statue. Like, there's many people and many politicians and famous writers and people who contributed culturally to their country who got statues later on. And like, I can't think of anyone alive today that is probably going to be worthy of a statue in the future. Like, who do you think? Jeff Bezos? Dr. Fauci? Nancy Pelosi? Zuckerberg? Like, which one of these personalities do you think there's going to be a statue of them in the city square and everyone is going to look with admiration towards that statue? And as I'm wondering this, I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, like, the media surely must promote some people. Like, there must be some citizens that are raised as standards for everyone else. And the answer is, like, when you look at the papers, you're going to find articles such as this. Astronaut Nicole Aun Paumann to be the first Native American woman in space. And this is a little bit interesting. Now, I have nothing against Nicole Aun Paumann. I'm pretty sure that she is very happy with her accomplishment. Her family is very proud of her as well. However, this is not an achievement that hasn't been done before. I mean, the Soviet Union sent women into space during the Cold War. It's not something that is peak human achievement. We're not talking about the invention of penicillin. We're not talking about the invention of electricity. We're not talking about the person that managed to discover the light speed engine. We're not talking about the person that managed to land a shuttle on a comet. We're not talking about people winning the Nobel Prize for pushing humanity forward. No, we're talking about the first, insert identity politics here, to do something that has been done. And this is apparently like the best thing that you can see coming out from the US time and time again. I mean, when it's about Disney, haha, the mouse. I mean, they have the first ever female in the MCU-led project, I think like 3 times now. They also have like the first gay character in a Disney movie for at least 3 times now. Like, this is the coveted thing, right? Like, if you're a corporation, you just select an identity politics group that hasn't done something, and then you publicize it to the audience and say, oh, we're doing the first thing ever. And once you have the first woman into space, okay, now we need to publicize the first Native woman into space. And once you do that, you're like, okay, like the first Native woman that's American and she's gay into space. And then you're like, the first Native American woman that's gay and is also transgender and has certain disability. Like that, that's what they're doing. Like the real life version of a sequel to a movie. Because I've seen this movie before. I have seen the first person go into space. And then I have seen the first person that's a woman who went into space. Now do something else. Make something else. Be the first person that tries to colonize Mars or something. You know, like, just use your imagination. Create something, for the love of God. Make the first shuttle that is close to achieving light speed. Make the first life-sustaining shuttle that can just become an ark and you can send people to Alpha Centauri. Like, something new. Something that wasn't done. This has been done. And again, many respects to Nicole here. She did something very difficult to accomplish. Many people want to become astronauts. She's one of the few that managed to become an astronaut. She should be proud of her achievement. I'm pretty sure her family is proud as well. But I don't understand why the rest of humanity needs to look at this as if it's something groundbreaking. Because it's sad. It's sad that this is considered to be groundbreaking, and we don't have actual groundbreaking things. We don't discover a new dimension or figure out a way to end world hunger or anything like that. I mean, no one is going to remember this 2 years from now. Because, like, Disney doesn't remember its first ever gay character, right? Like, because every time they make another one, they consider that to be the first. And it's this obsession with being nominated as the first. Like, you're not even the first. Take, for example, Marie Curie, right? Like, she was the first to have that particular research. She wasn't nominated by someone to do that research. It was her life work. But when you look at Walt Disney and they're choosing the first woman to star in an MCU-led, you have Disney, the company, and they're using their own money and resource to nominate someone. And then instead of having to create good movies in order to get publicity, they can constantly push out firsts as often as they want. And that is what is going to generate buzz, because it seems that at a time of deep cultural stagnation, American people like that shit. So they don't have the expectation of Disney creating a new IP that's memorable and everyone will love, but they do have the expectation, okay, like, insert identity politics here, being the first to star in X. And once they do that, people are like, oh, that is so good. Oh, we're progressing as a society. I don't think you're progressing. I think you're stagnating. Notice how Japan doesn't feel the need to do that. Notice how South Korea doesn't feel the need to do that. They just come out with stuff, and it's like, hey, look, we found a new way of operating people with colon cancer. You know, like that. That is indeed something great. You know, that is indeed something that pushes us forward. But then you look at America. Oh, the first ever blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let me know what you guys think, though. And I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.